Hi there, Virgos. Welcome to your mid-October 2017 tarot reading. So this is going to run roughly from October 15th until the end of the month, October 31st. So first of all, I'm sensing that some of you might have like older children. You might be empty nesters, or you might have older children that are still living with you. There's this element here about hoping, wishing, praying that they're going to get better, that they're going to, learn to take care of themselves, that they're not going to be forever reliant on you to take care of them, or they can, manage their finances, their assets a little bit better so that they don't become like a burden on society or a burden on other people. And I feel like it's not that you're hoping and wishing for these things out of selfishness. I feel like you just want them to be personally accountable for their own actions, and you want them to succeed, of course. So I do feel that when it comes to family overall, and especially if you are parents, I do see a lot of conflict, ego, like power struggles when it comes to, parents and children. So you could be the child disputing with parents, if you have parents that are still alive, or you can be, the parent disputing with children, mainly because there are definitely, generational rifts, and there are definitely value differences between you and family members. So they say that it might be a good time for you to take a little bit of a hiatus, to take a little bit of a pause when if you feel yourself, constantly having to lecture somebody, either children in your household or parents. It's important to understand that these things are created because of generational, age differences, generational rifts. We're grown up in different times, so they're going to do what's appropriate for them, and you're going to do what's appropriate for you. So it's learning to see these differences and recognize that these differences are not in any way indicative of them loving you less or you loving them less, but just accepting it for what it is. And just know that people are doing whatever is appropriate for them at this time. I'm also feeling this major, I want to say like fork in the road for many of you. You've worked really, really, really hard your whole life, okay? So I feel like many of you started out working at a very young age, and I feel like teenagers, like working when you were teenage years, going to school and then having a weekend job. You've held your ground. You've taken on a lot of responsibilities. You saved up a lot of money, and overall you have practice this sense of having a really strong work ethics that you've built over time. And you value the work that you do. Even if you hate the coworkers, if you hate the work that you do, you value the work, and you do the work to the best of your capabilities. And many of you have had to do this out of financial necessity. You've had to take care of other people. You've had to kind of like be that reliant member of the household. You were kind of like that pillar that other people can depend on. And so you've worked your way up. You might have forgone a lot of, self-indulgence. You might have like made a lot of sacrifices, not taking that vacation because you wanted to get work done. Not splurging money because you wanted to save up for something a little bit more substantial, like a purchase, a big vacation down the line. You've made a lot of sacrifices, and it shows in this spread. And what I feel is you're at a point now where you're just like, I just want to have fun. And so I do see this wanderlust energy coming into this reading where you're no longer happy with the status quo. You're exploring new territory. You're looking out, scanning the horizon, and trying to figure out, like, where do I want to be? Where do I want to stay? What are my long-term goals? What am I going to do when retirement hits? And so it's a very fiery, like a very expansive, a very hopeful, a very optimistic energy that's kind of descending upon you. And as you're looking at everything that you have accomplished, many of you are kind of like on top of the hill, looking down, and the world is yours for the taking. And at this point, you have enough skills under your belt. You have enough financial stability under your belt. And you're looking for a new location. They're saying like a new fiefdom. a new place to kind of like set your anchor. And then others are just like, I'm bored with this. I'm bored with working for other people. I'm bored with having to build up so much wealth for other people, and then I end up empty-handed. And so you're kind of scanning the horizon too, looking for another place that you can sail to, another place that you can conquer, or another place that you can set down roots, reestablish yourself, restart. And so this is not what I typically see for earth signs, but I've been seeing this energy, this anxiousness, wanting to get out, wanting change, wanting newness for a lot of earth signs. So Capricorns, I've seen that. And you know, Capricorns, they have Saturn entering their sign 2018, the very early parts of 2018. And I feel like they have that last hurdle that they need to overcome. And I feel like with Taurian people too, they have new territories that they're kind of pushed to go, but they're very resistant. And I feel like you've been feeling this nudge for quite some time. And this is the month where it starts to really dawn on you that, you know, rather than being self-critical, you look back at everything that you have accomplished. You've looked back at all the people that you have pleased, you know, supervisors, co-workers, people that really enjoyed working with you, and people that, you know, without you, work would be so much harder for them. So some of you are getting the proper thanks and recognition. Others of you are still feeling like, I'm underappreciated and underpaid, and I need to get out, and I need to do something for myself. I need to take care of myself. So I feel like, you know, overall, there's a lot of self-awareness coming in where it's telling you, you know, look out for number one first. Not in the spirit of selfishness, but in the spirit of stop playing the martyr, stop working for other people, stop, you know, struggling against things that you can't control. And so learning to, you know, draw back your energy and just move on, okay? I feel like many of you are in a work environment where you have like a little bit of a lazy, self-indulgent superior. So it could be a manager, it could be a supervisor. I feel a very strong masculine energy. So I'm seeing more of a male counterpart. And I feel like this is a person that is kind of checked out with his or her work. Like they're no longer emotionally invested. They're no longer, you know, keeping on top of things. They're a little bit like they start to withdraw. They might be retiring. They might be leaving. They're just not invested in it emotionally. And I also feel like they're very self-indulgent, you know, like they might come to work late. They might like say things and they don't deliver. And so I feel like it's very aggravating for many of you in this environment because you feel like they're abusing their power or they're taking things for granted, or it's like you're almost kind of losing respect for them. And when you're in a work environment, one of the things that can really lift your morale is if you have somebody that you feel, you know, is really good and competent at their job. And if you will respect people that, you know, say what they mean what they say, and they work just as hard as you do. And so for you, this person, this supervisor, this manager, this person that you report to, they're kind of falling off their pedestal and you're not seeing them in a positive light anymore. And there is that sense of, you know, personally, I feel like a little bit of resentment coming in between you, from you, and that higher up. And so it's really kind of like the last push for you to kind of get out of there, okay? I'm feeling in terms of career, a lot of you are very, it's almost like, you know, reality versus the ideal, expectations versus reality, excuse me. And I see this starting to come up a lot for a lot of signs in this year, 2017, mainly because it's a very quick jolt to the system type of a year. It's a starting year, and it's making people kind of like snap out of their idealism and look at situation for what it is, looking at the reality of the situation. And so I feel almost like many of you are just looking at your environment, and as much as, you know, you want to help people, I feel like many of you are in the work that you do because you believe in the value of helping people, uplifting people, making situation better for people, calming people down when they're distressed, resolving their problems when they're irate. And so you're in it for the right reason. But I feel like in the process of doing all of that, you kind of feel like, well, what's left for me? Who's going to take care of me? And then you end up feeling very drained by the end of the day, having to cater to everybody else. And you end up feeling a little bit like, a little bit resentful of other people who are not taking their job seriously, because you understand that these are the complaints that you're dealing with are time sensitive. You understand that, you know, people are affected negatively if work is not done correctly, or if not, work is not done in a timely manner. And so there are a lot of things here that you are opening your eyes to, and this overall sense of like, am I happy here? Am I satisfied? Am I dissatisfied? And you can no longer lie to yourself about that. As much as you love your job, as much as you are thankful to have a job, I feel like there are things that can no longer be swept under the rug. And so what's next? What's the next step? Well, from now until March, you know, summarize some plans, get some things in order, start looking around, put your feelers out there and see, you know, is there something better for me? A lot of you honestly are great at self-employment, and you definitely should look into that. If you have snippets, ideas, definitely, you know, make it a reality. Don't sit on it anymore, and especially don't doubt yourself, thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, or I need a partner, I need to, you know, I can't do it on my own. And this negative self-talk is like essentially, you know, talking yourself out of a situation before it even starts. Okay, so if you have these plans, really play around with it, really tweak it, really sit and think about it some more, dive a little bit deeper, do a little bit more preliminary research. Because honestly, if you think about it, look at the past 10 years of your life. When have you started something that didn't work out the way that you want, right? You're very good at starting things, and you also, as an earth sign, have a lot of sustaining power to see it through. So look back at the last 10 years. When have you fallen flat on your face with a project? I can say that it's a very, very small minority of you, and it's few and far in between. It's a very, very small minority that have dealt with, you know, something you started, didn't come to fruition. And I can say as well, it's by no fault of your own. It's probably because you might have had a partner or something like that. So the point here is, look back at these patterns in your life, look back at these cycles, look back at all these things that you have successfully done in the past, and tell yourself, I'm capable, so that you can move on to this next, you know, rung in the ladder, so you can escalate, so you can ascend, and so that you can, you know, start really taking back your power and realizing how strong and capable you are. So I'm going to leave you with that, because I feel like you have a lot of plans, but they're not being solidified. And so this is the, you know, the next few months of this year is a good time for you to revisit, re-examine those things, and to carve a new path for yourself. A lot of the times too, you know, as humans, we think in a very linear way, and we also think about, you know, like cause and effect. But in terms of universal thinking, in terms of divine intervention, in terms of like spiritual guidance can show you a path that you would never even imagine. You know, it opens up in a way that happens really fast. It seems very serendipitous. It seems like it's your divine calling. And I feel like you're struggling with that. You're struggling with the practicality of a decision or a plan. And then you're struggling as well with, you know, really trusting something that always has been nagging at you, but you don't feel like it's concrete enough. You don't know how to form it, and you don't know how to make it a reality. And you, deep down, you don't really trust it, so you never really sat down and flush out these ideas. And I feel like they're very good, okay? They're good ideas. They just need you to dig a little bit deeper, do your research first, and create something out of it. Don't just let it, you know, kind of like, don't just put it on the back burner, because I feel like it's there for a reason, okay? So Virgos, a lot to do the next few months, okay? Don't wear yourself out. I do see a lot of late nights for many of you. I do see a lot of travel and movement. These travel opportunities, they're supposed to be, you know, restful, but I feel like your mind is running, constantly running. Your mind is churning, and you're not going to feel rested. So you need to find a way to, you know, get extra sleep, okay? So I will be back for the November reading, and I wish you all the best. Please take care of yourself. Bye-bye.